Hello and a warm welcome to Panorama on the network service of the NTA. Dry season farming in Nigeria is a practice of planting and cultivating crops during the dry season, usually between the months of October and March. During the period, farmers depend largely on irrigation systems to water their farms. As a result of the immeasurable benefits derivable from this agricultural practice, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, has advised Nigerian farmers and other critical stakeholders in the agricultural sector to take full advantage of farming in the dry season as part of efforts to prevent food crisis, more so with the devastating flood that ravaged some states across the nation. Benue State, being blessed with a vast arable fertile landmass, has keyed into this agricultural practice long ago. Although the state is one of the longest stretches of river system, the River Benue, which has a great potential for viable dry season farming, not much remarkable success has been recorded so far. Why is it so? What are other challenges of dry season farming in the state? How has the state government leveraged on the recent inauguration of dry season farming by the federal government, targeting 500,000 hectares of irrigable land in the state? What is the way forward? These and more will form the basis of our discussion on Panorama today. Coming to you live from NTA Network Center, Makurdi. I am Charles Saba, but first, the news of the day. President Ahmed Tinubu has again promised more positively impactful programs and projects that will leave the glory of Nigeria brighter than he made the country. It was at the launching of the renewed Hope Cities and Estate and groundbreaking ceremony of the pilot housing project at Karasana, Abuja. The housing scheme, in collaboration with the private sector, is targeting to deliver 100,000 housing units nationwide. Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria have issued a stern ultimatum to the federal government to implement the 16-point agreement reached with organized labor on October 2, 2023. The statement signed by leadership of the unions wants the federal government to honor its part of the understanding within 14 days from today, 9th February 2024. The organized labor expressed concern that despite the passage of time, the majority of these crucial agreements remain unmet. The agreements reached with the federal government to the unions were focused on addressing the massive suffering and the general harsh socioeconomic consequences occasioned by the hike in the price of PMS and the devaluation of the naira. Now let's break for this point.
Many thanks, Charles, for those reports. Looking at other stories now, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security says it's ready to commence the release of 42,000 metric tons of grains in line with the President's directive. A statement signed by the Minister, Abubakar Kyari, says the food items will be sold to the public at subsidized prices. The minister says this will assist Nigerians finding it difficult to access affordable food. The food items will be disbursed to all the states from the strategic reserves of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture. All right, President Bola Tinubu has again promised more positively impactful programs and projects that will leave the glory of Nigeria brighter than he met the country. It was at the launching of the renewed Hope Cities in the state, as well as groundbreaking ceremony of the pilot housing project at Kasana, Abuja. State House correspondent Musbao Danwahab reports.
In the last 3 decades, housing needs continue to grow alongside the population of a country. Previous administration had come up with various schemes yet the deficit steadily increased from 7 million in 1991 to about 28 million as of 2023. To effectively bridge the gap, about 21 trillion naira is said to be required. And now, the current administration is beaming new hope on the sector with a renewed hope cities and estates. Ambitious as it appears, the solution is already worked out in its renewed hope action plan, with the administration targeting to, in collaboration with other tiers of government and private sector, get even the poorest Nigerians climb onto the housing ladder. The project aims to deliver 100,000 housing units nationwide, with 20,000 planned for the FCT, beginning with these 3,112 units at Karsana.
Shelter is a necessity. It's a human right. And we're here just to do that. What they are about to do, to turn the country to a large construction site for housing units.
However, the president is quite sensitive to the current situation in the country, and in a seeming reaffirmation of commitments, President Tinubu remains resolute and positive that Nigeria is on its way to greater heights despite the current rough patches.
We stand the test of time and bring a glory of Nigeria brighter than we met it. We did say it will be El Dorado, smooth all the way through, but we are confident that this country will excel in all ramifications that is. I pledge to Nigeria, my country, being faithful and committed to the economic development and prosperity of every one of you.
And so, the president wants Nigerians to share the hope, show commitment, and be ready to make necessary contributions for the betterment of the country. In Abuja, Musbah Dan Wahab, NTA News.
The federal government is re-engaging in $1 billion deal with the Green Imperative project that will boost agricultural transformation to ensure food security. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports that this is coming after a meeting with Brazilian government officials assuring to provide the largest agricultural technology.
Great opportunity provided to Nigeria by the Brazilian government to access the largest agricultural project, called the Green Imperative, is to overcome challenges in accessing technology to integrate global network to boost productivity.
So we're essentially trying to revive the process, especially in the light of the food crisis that is affecting the nation. This is the largest food production project in the world. It's almost $1 billion. The local assembly of mechanization implements, distribution to almost all 774 local governments, where you have resource centers that will work on a commercial basis. It's not free, to really impact on all aspects of agriculture within the short and medium term.
Apart from the service centers in all the local governments, they are also going to have regional centers to be the foundation of supply to those local governments. So we believe that this will transform the agricultural space.
Making farming a dignified venture for Nigerian farmers, the project is providing a triangular cooperation initiative with long-term goals for food security.
We want to cooperate, and we think that one of the most strategic areas where we can cooperate is in agriculture. We have long experience in developing agriculture. We want to share this with Nigeria. We think it's important. And this project, Green Imperative, is one major step in building this new moment of cooperation between both countries.
We are planning to have assembling a plant and to bring the parts and to take advantage in other parts in the Nigerian market to assemble the components here. This is some special technology that we will bring to the Green Imperative project.
With more than 80% of Nigerian farmers being smallholder, the implementation of the Green Imperative project is expected to give them access to high-quality farm inputs for maximum productivity. From the State House, Abraham Jibrila, NTA News.
From agriculture, now heading to the National Assembly, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, has urged Nigerians to be patient to reap the fruits of deliberate economic policies and investments on the nation's security architecture by the Tinubu administration. Addressing a special press conference on the state of the nation at the National Assembly, the Speaker advocates synergy among the three arms of government towards achieving the security and welfare of all Nigerians. National Assembly correspondent Mitaire Igbe feeds us.
Thank you very much.
It is uncommon for the Speaker of the House of Representatives to address a press conference on national issues outside plenary.
And we're sure
Speaker Abbas says this became imperative to express solidarity with Nigerians on security challenges in parts of the country.
to those affected by the scourge of insecurity, I want you to know that your government hears you loud and clear. We are taking decisive steps to address the root causes of this menace, deploying both military and diplomatic resources to ensure that the safety and security of all Nigerians. It is a complex challenge, one that requires patience and a time to resolve. The time has come for us to demand greater transparency from our security agencies and full accountability for all the funds spent and earmarked for spending in the sector.
Emphasizing the nexus between food security and national security,
But I assure
the Speaker says Parliament will provide legislative support for government policies to tackle food shortages.
In addition to promoting security so that farmers can feel safe to return to their farms, the House will support import and export policies that stabilize food prices and ensure adequate supply of essential food items at affordable rates.
Acknowledging that socio-economic challenges test the will of Nigerians, the Speaker urges citizens to refrain from resorting to slander against government officials and institutions, but engage in constructive dialogue. Earlier during plenary, the House passed a resolution asking the federal government to put on hold any proposed plan to recall the heads of chancery from Nigeria's foreign missions abroad.
To recall all Nigerians head of chanceries at this time, Nigeria has no ambassadors. Having earlier withdrew on all ambassadors on her foreign missions will give credence to the dangerous assertions of a political instability back home that will be hazardous to Nigerian diplomatic relationship with other countries.
The House mandated its Committee on Foreign Affairs to liaise with the Minister of Foreign Affairs with a view to resolving all issues in respect of Nigeria's foreign missions and report back to the House for further legislative action. From the National Assembly, Mitaire Igbe, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria have issued an ultimatum to the federal government to implement the 16-point agreement reached with organized labor on October 2, 2023. A statement signed by the leadership of the unions urges the federal government to honor its part of the understanding within 14 days from tomorrow, 9th February 2024. The organized labor expresses concern that despite the passage of time, the majority of these crucial agreements remain unmet. The agreements reached with the federal government were focused on addressing the general socio-economic hardship occasioned by the hike in the price of PMS and the devaluation of the Naira. Time to take a break on Panorama, and when we come back, Charles Abba will continue from our Makadi station. Stay with us.
The counsel of our fathers.
I will urge and advise our younger generation to use talent and brain to sort out problems, not arms.
Nigerian youths Let's build our nation.
My advice to these young people is please do not take us back to those harrowing days. You probably do not know what it is.
I believe we have fought one civil war too many in this country. So those who experience it will run away from it.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
Thank you for staying and a warm welcome to Makudi. In the effort to boost food security and improve productivity across the country, the Benue State government is set to commence dry season farming across designated irrigation sites in the state. Deputy Director, Agricultural Services, Abu Solomon Owajo, gave the hint in an interview with Moses Ajau Ode.
Benue State, with the appellation Food Basket of the Nation, boasts the widest array of agricultural products among all the states in Nigeria, owing to its fertile and vast arable lands. However, increasing food availability, creating employment opportunity in the form of farm labor, and facilitating markets for agricultural products requires smart and more coordinated all-season farming approach. It is to properly address this gap and reposition Benue State as a food hub of the nation that the Benue State government is keen into the federal government's dry season farming initiative, which is already in place across 15 states of a federation, including Jigawa.
But thank God, Benue is keen to the dry season farming, and we have already taken off. This year, 2024, God willing, Benue will begin to produce most of the food that they will need.
For some small-scale farmers along the riverbank, irrigation farming project is capital intensive as it requires farm inputs to boost productivity.
I have been farming for close to 2 decades, and we've never gotten support from the government or through any other agency. But usually, when the support comes, we are always being shortchanged.
State Chairman, All Farmers Association, Benue State Chapter, Audon Saku, while commending Benue State for keying into the irrigation farming project, observed that the initiative is timely as it will play a significant impact on crime reduction and boost food productivity.
If we take advantage of the water sources, we can eliminate food insecurity because there will be production all year round.
This government is brought in by the people, is a government of the people, and like you know, the governor is doing everything within his power to make sure that the people of Benue State enjoying what they are supposed to enjoy. And we looked at the issue of water, and we find out that the previous government, the past government, left our water works in a very bad shape.
So far, 50,000 farmers are to cultivate rice, cassava, and maize to kick off the irrigation farming project, which is to be piloted across 34 irrigable farming sites in the state. In Makudi, Moses Ajau Udi, NTA News.
And to talk more on dry season farming, I am now being joined by the Commissioner for Agriculture and Food Security, Professor Moses Ogaji, a professor of crop production. Professor, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you watched that report, and you know that when President Ahmed Tinubu was inaugurated as the president of Nigeria, he immediately declared emergency on food security. What is the state government doing to ensure that this dream is actualized?
Thank you very much. The declaration by our own President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, came at the very right time. Immediately, that declaration came in, we keyed in Benue State through the active support of our governor, talk and do governor, Reverend Father Dr. Haised Alia, who immediately mobilized us to key in. Today, I can tell you that we are set for that program. We have identified the irrigable lands, they are 34 in number,
scattered in all the local governments of Benue State. We have identified the 50,000 farmers that will participate in the dry season farming. In fact, according to the crops that they will participate, there are 3 major crops that they will participate: rice, maize, and cassava, based on where those crops grow most. Therefore, we have submitted a list to the Federal Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, and we are waiting for them now because we are set to go. Immediately they release the inputs to farmers, we are set to go and to commence the program in Benue State. We are fully mobilized for the program, just as my director said here.
Okay, but late last year, the Minister of Water Resources flagged off 500,000 hectares of dry season farming here in Makudi,
Yes.
and 800 hectares in Konshisha local government area.
Yes.
What are you doing about this?
That too, we have keyed into that program. You know, Benue State, everybody is a farmer here. In fact, I have gone to Abuja to discuss that particular issue personally with the minister. You know, the Honorable Minister, our own distinguished Professor Joseph Sef, was my colleague.
Okay.
At the university. We were lecturers together. So I went to discuss with him, and we also submitted a list of the farmers that we wish to participate. He said that one is very much on cost too, and we are going to benefit. Farmers are going to benefit. In essence, I want to say that farmers in Benue should continue to be patient. Even yesterday, I should make this point. When something good happens, let us give credit to whom credit is due. The Federal Minister of Agriculture and Food Security distributed assorted agricultural products, fertilizers, knapsack sprayers, fish, chickens. People got 25 chickens each with their feeds. Just yesterday, we did a distribution yesterday in Makodi here. So the federal government is doing it. It will take time for these things to mature. So because the damage was much in the last regime, people are not feeling the impact immediately. But this government is doing a lot. We are blessed. They should be patient.
Okay, you are a professor of crop production.
Yes, sir.
What other techniques would you give out to farmers to leverage on this dry season farming?
Okay, on my assumption of office, I discovered something that is very painful. I discovered that most farmers in Benue State were using grains to plant. What I mean by grains are open pollinated seeds. You know, when you harvest a crop and you take it to plant, it's not a grain. Grains are for consumption. In our agriculture, we always use hybrids, which are the improved seeds that we use every day. The hybrids are an improvement over their parents. As you will give, to put it in layman's language, you will know that a good child must be better than the parents. So in agriculture too, seeds are usually better than their parents. So every year we use new seeds. This is what I'm doing. And we have already opened a seed store at the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, where farmers can now come and buy improved seeds and plant instead of using grains to plant. Because when you use grain to plant, you have reduced your yield by half already. Even if you apply the inputs, you have improved grain. By putting it in layman's language, it's like telling an old woman to give birth. So that is what we're doing.
All right, Professor, thank you very much for your insight on this dry season farming.
Yes.
We appreciate your presence.
Thank you. My last appeal is that Benue farmers, Nigerian farmers, should be patient with this government. The damage done by the previous administration was massive. It will take time for you to feel the impact. I know there is hunger, but the government is doing a lot to alleviate this hunger. Thank God, many bureaucrats are on board now. We have been given the opportunity to help, and we are going to help, and things will change. Let them give us time.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
Up next is